guys, welcome to My People Podcast. It's Trina and Malucci along with
Mona T.
And today we're talking about knowing your worth.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
It's a pretty good subject because we all had to get there to know our worth.
Yeah.
So I got a few notes I jotted down here, and this is some of the things that we're going to be talking about because I don't want to get too much off subject because we can get there when we get to talking. So understanding your value and self-reflection and identifying limits and beliefs and overcoming self-doubt. Those are the couple of things that, comes to mind because we all kind of deal with those on a daily basis. And so let's kind of talk about those things and how they affect you in your life every day.
What was it again?
So how you feel about self-reflection? Do you think that plays a big part on knowing your worth?
I think we do self-reflection a lot. And most of the time when I'm self-reflecting, it's because I'm kind of disappointed or off task or trying not to go into a depressive mode. So a lot of times I reflect on that or reflect when I'm in those, in that type of feeling. But I think that goes along with, knowing your self-worth as well, because those are things that would be able to pull you out of that, just knowing your self-worth. And that's building confidence.
True.
And one of the things that I guess I struggle with or whatever is not really saying I don't know my self-worth, but doubting the self-worth.
Well, we haven't got to doubting yet because we got that in there. We got
okay.
doubt, but just reflecting on the self-reflection. So it's like, you have to kind of start looking at your strengths, your accomplishments, and also the things that kind of like something that you possess that's unique, like your unique qualities or capabilities or gifts or strengths. So, kind of make yourself feel like, you are like appreciating yourself more, because that also helps you with knowing your worth. A lot of people, they always like, am I doing all I can do? Or am I doing the best I can do? So I mean, it's like, what are you doing at those times that you're kind of self-reflecting? That's how that's what I be like want to know. Like, I self-reflect, but what am I doing with that self-reflection? Am I building myself up or am I tearing myself down? Because some people self-reflect and regret, and that's what puts them in that depressive mode. But if you self-reflect and build yourself up, then that builds your value. That's how I look at it. Now I do, because I was like, I said, like once before we talked about being so critical on yourself.
Yeah, we are our worst critics.
Yeah, but I feel like if you go about building your worth up, then you'll have so many higher expectations for yourself and for other people to look at you differently. Like you'll have like I would say, like your environment or people you want to be around you or people that you even want to network with, you'll start to, look at your worth. Like, I know my values, like what do I bring to the table? Stuff like that. Right. Yeah.
So those are things that I kind of I struggle with too. Being self-reflecting, like, okay, so what am I bringing to the table? What are things that I'm good at? And where are my weaknesses? Because sometimes people self-reflect and they self-reflect, negatively. But then if you recognize that, I procrastinate, I didn't have to wait that long, or I should have been, doing it a long time ago, or something like that, then a positive thing now is to go ahead and set you a checkoff list or something. That's one of the things that now I've started to do. Like when I'm self-reflecting, before I worked on that self-worth thing, it was more, negative. But now it's like, so how do I change that? What am I doing to change that? Because to do the same thing is insanity if you want a different result. So that's kind of the things that I do now, that when I self-reflect or whatever, I'm jotting down. I have a little book in my purse, and it's just a little thing that I jot down, like, okay, I didn't get this done last week. Right. Let me work on it this week. Right. And so even sometimes knowing that you're a person that's going to go out there and get it or get to the bottom of the situation, to me, that's a strength. So you're a person that's going to go out there and make things happen, or you're going to research and stuff like that, or what you're going to do or whatever. But it still always goes back to, am I smart enough? Or am I...
So that goes to like people limiting to themselves, like to, you know, not recognizing their self-worth, or not even recognizing that, you know, that you are not trying to, you know, elevate to another level because you're that's like self-doubt and
Self-doubt.
or whatever.
Self-doubt.
And then you're holding yourself back from recognizing your worth at that point.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, do you think that, so like, have you ever like suffered from like not wanting to admit to yourself that you like the person holding you back from moving forward? Have you ever like felt, because I felt like that before, like I'm the one holding myself back. It's nobody, that's just me. And that's like fear. I think that's a part of fear.
Yeah, but sometimes we're in denial because you have, and I can't talk to other, I can't speak to other people, but for me, you know, I started looking and listening to things that people were saying and how they would place blame on other people, reasons for them not moving forward.
Right.
You know, like, oh, we supposed to be doing this, but they not doing this, they not doing that, or they said they was gonna do this, but they didn't do that, and that's why, you know, I'm waiting on them, you know, those kind of things or whatever. And it was like, okay, so when do I take responsibility?
Ownership. But they say own the outcome.
Yeah.
On the outcome, because I mean, what you just said, that hit home, because it's like, you know, when you gonna stop blaming others and just take everything into your own possession or your control, because you have to create your own narrative and things. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, I kind of think that's where I'm at right now. It's like, not saying that I'm a control freak, but it's like I do want to have control of some things. I don't like to worry. Now I'm learning, like, I don't want to worry. If I can fix a situation so I don't have to worry, then I go, okay, well, let's get, I didn't say fix, but let's find a solution. Just so you don't have to worry. I'd rather go with that solution that I don't have to worry about it, or a solution that it's not in the back of my mind constantly nagging at me, because I feel like if I didn't take ownership of something the proper way, because we can sometimes put things in other people's hands.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and then it's like, okay, y'all have to, they don't go right and have somebody to blame. But then it's like, well, why you didn't take ownership, you know, of yourself?
Because we don't think that we can handle those types of responsibility. It's something that's not in our familiar, like we're not familiar with it, or it's something new, or it's a feeling, you know. And so you just like, okay, this is weird, you know. Like, so what I'm supposed to do now? And so you quickly go to people or person that you know that's gonna figure it out or fix it, you know. And not really taking control because you don't have that confidence in yourself in that particular situation or something.
But that's the point you're supposed to be building up, like taking challenges, taking chances, stepping out of your comfort zone. I think those are things that, you know, kind of push you towards, you know, recognizing your worth. Like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah,
I have value. I know I have value. I can do this. I know I'm needed. I'm wanted. I can do this on my own. I don't really need that person necessarily to do it, because I can figure out how to do it by myself. And that's the thing. I think that's what I was taught. Like, going through the tech world and working in tech and learning tech, you really have to do a lot of research and figure out, because it's forever changing. So you really have to like depend on your knowledge of research. Because you can't, it's not always like a knowledge like, oh, I know how to do this, because you have seasoned people who in tech that don't know a lot of stuff. Like, I don't know how to do that, or they'll be shying away from it. Then like, okay, well, let me go research it and figure out how to do it. Then I go research it and figure out how to do it, as opposed to let this senior person, like, I'm going to them asking a question, you know.
Yeah, and that's and I think, and sometimes it's good to recognize the strengths, because I recognize that type of strength with you as well, you know, because I'm not like, I'm a reader because I have to read, and not because I want to read. Yeah, so I'm type of that person. Like, if it's something in front of me and I need to figure it out, then that's when I'm researching, because it's something that I'm really trying to do.
And I just feel like I gotta know it.
But you just,
I don't want nobody. I don't like to be blinded. It's like, you know, if I'm going to the doctor, I want to know, you know, what they're talking about.
What they could possibly say.
Yeah.
The possibility.
Researching the medication. I mean, eye doctor, if I'm going to court, it's just any situation, I'm going to research it. I'm going to read about it. I'm going to try to understand it the best way I can. So I don't like stuff to go over my head. That's another thing too. I don't want anything to go over my head, but it's like, I also don't want to be made fearful. Because I be feeling like, you know, I'm like, okay, ain't nothing wrong with you going to do a little Google and a little reading, girl, to go, you know, figure it out.
Yeah, I don't like that either. Sometimes you be thinking like, okay, I'm overdoing this stuff. I'm putting things in my head that ain't even there yet or whatever. So I get that part, and that just comes along with believing in yourself, you know,
Mhm.
and that self-worth is attached to the beliefs that you have in yourself. But I have started to not pay attention,
Mhm.
but I have started to believe, you know, what the words say. You know, I'm a new creature in Jesus Christ. You know, I can do all things through God who strengthens me. Like, those things are affirmations. Those things are things that you can tell yourself when you're feeling that doubt. You know,
And that's you dealing, that's not you, but in general, but that's like in that realm, you're dealing with like guilt, shame,
yeah.
and trying to, you know, overcome like those senses of things. And also I want to talk about boundaries. How do you setting boundaries for ourselves, you know, dealing with, you know, knowing your worth, not want to step in areas that, you know, is, I'm not gonna say beneath you because that sounds so bad, not beneath you, but like knowing that, you know, that's not for you because you know your worth or your value. How do you feel like, you know?
I don't know. I don't know if I told you this a while back, but you know how you take on other people's problems just by hearing the conversation.
Ooh, yes.
And stuff that really don't concern you. So it's almost like me minding my business.
Yes.
You know, or it's almost like staying
I'm
in my
definitely in that
lane,
era, minding my
you know.
business era
You know, if
right
they
now.
don't come to me specifically, you know, and say something or ask me something, I'm not offering it, you know.
Yeah.
And my boundaries are created on their own. Like, I don't have people coming to me and just, you know, pounding it all on me, because literally I'm gonna tell you what I think.
Right,
and it's
right.
not gonna, when you come to somebody and you just want to get it off your chest, I get that. And I'm like, and sometimes I'll be like, so you just want to get this off your chest, or you really asking me, like, you know, my opinion or what, you know? And then they listen to the opinion. But like my pastor say, people gonna do what they want to do. You gonna tell them, you know, what you think, you know, what you feeling in that spirit at the time, and people gonna do what they want to do. And that goes for me too, like vice versa, you know, because sometimes you have to go through that situation, and this is how God teaches you to know your worth. Because look, you was fearful before you went there.
Come on now.
You went through it. Now you over it, and you looking back like, I did that.
Right.
You
did
know,
that.
what was I even afraid of?
And celebrate that small
And
win.
that's what you need to celebrate.
Yeah,
Because a lot of people don't celebrate. And it might sound, you know, stupid or small or whatever, but just getting up in the morning and having a routine, like me working out, you know, it's a challenge, but it was also an opportunity.
Girl, you've been serious. I gotta give it to you.
Yeah, it was
You've been
also an
serious
opportunity
on your working out.
for me to do something consistently. I felt like my issue was not being consistent.
That is still my
And
issue.
starting something or not finishing, or over here doing this when I'm supposed to be doing that. You know, so it's like that's one thing. Like, and this particular thing, you know, that I'm working on or whatever that I'm doing, as far as working out, it's teaching me. It's teaching me that, okay, you ain't worked out since yesterday or the day before yesterday. You need to get back on it. You
Yeah,
know?
don't feel guilty about not working or skipping a day. Just keep going. That's how I look at it. Sometimes you be like, oh, yeah, work out here. Oh, yeah, worked out in 1 week. But then I start one day. I'm like, well, at least I did that 1 day. Or at least I did it 2 days. At least, I mean, it's just like, keep going. Keep going. Don't give up and stop putting yourself down when you don't do the things that you say you're going to do. You just got to, if you didn't do it today, do it tomorrow.
And I want to, I don't know if it was 1 hour little points that we were going to make, but another thing that I think a lot of people do, and I do as well, is compare yourself
To
to other people's failures or successes.
yeah.
And the successes of what we think, you know, are successful or whatever, it might not be your path. You know, or that the way they doing it is theirs, the way you do it is gonna be yours. But a lot of times we look at people who are trying to, like we're doing podcasts and what, and I see people on their podcasts, and I'm looking at numbers and, you know, how many people it is, and, you know, they started way back then, but look where they at now, you know.
Yeah,
so those kinds of things, I was like, oh, when we gonna get it together? When we gonna do it? And it's not per se that you, because people can get caught up in it and quit.
But also, it's like, what is your purpose with it? Because that was the thing that I was like, what you just said, I was feeling like it's like everybody. I mean, when I started this podcast, well, nobody doing no podcasting. It was not a thing. And I was like, oh, ain't nobody paying attention to this stuff. You know, so I stopped. I was like, no. And then it was like, over the years I paid, I'm like, shoot, podcast is going up. Like, you know, we need to get back to it. And then you brought it up, like, I really want to do a podcast. And I was like, girl, everybody's doing a podcast. But God kind of spoke to me and was like, you know, God has taken me through so many things not to share. And there's so many things we want to talk about and I do want to share with you guys. But it's like, you know, my purpose in life is to share and to help the next person and also to continue to help myself. And it's like with this podcast, to me, this podcast is very spiritual to me because it's also, you know, it's showing me that it's not what you want, it's what God wants you to do. And to be faithful and to be obedient. Like we had some hiccups today.
Oh, we showed
all day long was hiccups after hiccups, and it was like I shared something with my sister, but I was not being obedient to what God was giving me the feeling of. And you was like, "Girl, don't worry about it. I just keep going."
Yeah.
And
I did that. I did do that. But of course, he didn't give it to me. Now let me just say that. Not to say it was your fault, but he didn't give it to me because, again, my thing, I'm staying in my lane. You know, I learned to stay in my lane, so I'm practicing. You know, but he didn't give it to me, and I didn't want us to like not move forward or to do something drastic or whatever that was going to change the courses of what we had, you know, put in place to happen this week or whatever. So, but. I mean, God showed her that she knew the heck she was talking about. You know what I'm saying?
And I didn't know what it was. It was just a thought and a feeling. Because I texted like 3 or 4 days ago. And I was like, Mona, we got to change it. She was like, girl, what you worried about that for? And I'm like, it's not me. It was just it was like a heavy feeling. And then I brought up again this morning, remember? And you was like, Trina,
let's just go do what we gotta
let's go just do what we got to do. And I'm like, it's just way heavy on me. Like, and then when everything started happening, we both looking at each other like,
you said it. But you know what I'm so I'm grateful for is because even though you had the feeling or whatever and
we didn't give up.
We didn't give up, number one. You know, but number two, you know, God put people in places you know, where because that was a challenge, and we got through it, and we got done, and we didn't even feel like we was gonna be doing the podcast.
Today was like, oh, but you know what? I'm not gonna let the devil win.
That's a bit. We told him to get deep behind us. That's what we told him.
Yeah, and I'm gonna celebrate this win that we sitting here having this podcast today. This is the win, you know, for us, and that's a part of value and knowing your worth because that's a part of growth mindset. Because the mindset could have allowed us to be like, oh, I'm over this today. We're gonna call it a day, and we're gonna come back this next time. But it's like, no, keep going. Why not? What am I gonna do later? I'm gonna go home and probably take a nap because I need one. But it's just like, you know, keep going. Have faith in God. Have faith in yourself that you can do it, and just keep it moving.
That builds. I think that builds self-worth. I think that growth always builds self-worth when you overcome it instead of thinking it, as a challenge. Think of it as an opportunity to show yourself what you really can do. And it says that they put it's somewhere in the Bible. I'm have to research it because I don't even want to try and quote it. But how God sometimes allow us to go through things, because He needs you to understand that you need to depend on Him.
Yeah, and challenging
and when you do that, because depending on God, it takes the care away. It really takes the care away of what's gonna happen if this happen, or who gonna say that somebody gonna say something or whatever, and it's just it takes the care away when you depend on God, and He gives you the support you need,
And He does, because like even when we was going through our situation, I was sitting in the car I'm like, okay, we just supposed to leave, and some say no, turn your butt around. That's why I blew the horn at you, and I was like, we could.
Yeah, my mom about to go on the street.
Yeah, she was about to leave, and I was like, no. He said, I'm just say turn back around. So I'm gonna do what he say do, and I'm like, okay, I did it. Okay, nothing happened. Like, okay, why did I? Okay, we wasting time. I'm looking at the time. We wasting time. So then he was like, no.
That's what I was going to do. What is she doing?
And then I saw people coming in. He was like, no, go back. and go get your things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, how we gonna do it? I don't understand how we gonna
get in.
Yeah, I didn't get it, but we did.
Something happened.
It did. He made a way.
He did it because it wasn't none of us. We did.
Yeah, definitely did. And he
made phone calls and everything.
And he did it, but it just goes to show, being obedient to God when He's speaking to you, knowing when He's speaking to you, recognizing
His voice.
Just trusting those intuitions you get, and just, I just in this era of my life, I just want to be spirit filled. I just want to be found doing what He asking of me to do.
Ooh, that's the key right there.
I just want to be in that environment always, in that mindset always, and then challenging my fears and challenging my negative thoughts, because all my thoughts been negative today. I was negative. So it was like, man, the hell with this shit. You can just, that's how I was feeling. And it was like, no, girl, calm yourself down. Everything gonna be okay. And go ahead and do what you gotta do and keep to your, plans. And that goes to, the power of asking, the power of believing, the power of challenging those negative thoughts, and the power of belief. That all goes into knowing your worth, understanding your worth, and also to throw in understanding your purpose.
Yes,
understand your purpose, because in my mind, my purpose is I need to be doing this, but God has already given me purpose. I just need to settle in what He's given me. And be happy with that, because I look at other people's lives. I do sometimes, and I be like, I'm blessed. Because we look at people online or on TV and be like
outside looking in.
Yeah, and we be like, oh my God, they got a nice house. Oh my God, they got a nice car. But then they be so miserable on other spectrums of life. Whereas family wise, I'm so satisfied. I'm so happy. I may not be driving, the Rolls Royce or living in the mansion. I don't want a Rolls Royce, but not living in the mansion, whatever.
I'll take the big house just because we would probably all want to be together.
Yeah. But I just, like she was saying, the comparison to others, I had to take that away. Being on, I want this education, I want this position in this, company. But it was like, God already gave you a company. Run it. God already gave you a purpose. Do it. I mean, it's like, what are you doing?
Oh my God, that's what the pastor was saying.
I'm telling you.
He said that when you go to God, and you asking God for things, it's already done.
And we just don't recognize it. I was talking the other day to my husband. He was like, babe, we are so blessed. There's so many people out here hungry. Ain't got no car. Ain't got no clothes. Can't go out to take their family out to eat. Because it's 5 of us. We go out to eat.
Baby, y'all spend about $400-$500.
We spend clearly $200 every time we dine out at the most. And it's like we going out to eat 3 or 4 times a week, but our bills still paid. Our car notes still paid. You know what I'm saying? He was like, girl, we blessed. You know what I'm saying? He was like, and so when you feeling down, you need to remember the things that God is allowing you to do.
Gratitude.
Just having gratitude for that, and stop looking at what what I could be doing this, so I want to get this, so this can be more. And I had to really pipe myself down and get into that word, even though sometimes it hurts sometimes to get into that word. It hurts sometimes when, God
is
a
conviction.
Oh, girl, because it's like, I don't want to hear that.
We need it. Sometimes we need it. I mean, and just even for people who not in the word, because I know it's people out there who believe in principle and, and you're going to work and that's how you get the results and all that stuff. And that's true. And that's all true, but you still have to have faith in what you're doing. That means believing that it's going to happen, but you're not seeing it. And even though that's Bible, it still holds true to just regular life period. You gotta have faith to believe in what you're doing, or why else is you doing it, and what's gonna make you get up tomorrow, and do it again, and to keep working on that. But I thank God. Gratitude is so important. Gratitude is important, and sometimes you need to sit in it.
Yes.
Like, have you ever just sit in gratitude? Man, I start busting out crying.
You will, because then you'll start realizing and appreciating things. Like, I thank God that, my children ain't out here slinging on no pole. I ain't got nothing against strippers. This should be business. That's how you make your money. But
I don't. But anybody want to teach me how to do that butterfly? No.
Sugar pole dance to make you fine. But I mean, I just thank God my kids not here on drugs and running the streets and being disrespectful to themselves and others. I mean, I just thank God I'm here alive. I'm not dying, and it's just it's just so many things. I can go on and on and on, but it's like like you saying, sit in that gratitude sometimes, and sometimes you're gonna have to cry because it's just gonna be like, oh God, thank you, Lord.
If you knew what I did and done and went through,
hello.
That
he done brought you all the way through, and sometimes you don't even notice it or recognize it. He already done brought you through. While you over here like, Lord, what's going? Baby, it's done. What's done is done. Yep. And just when I just looked at this sign and I was like, my people, my people, my people, recognize your worth. Recognize that you have value to this world. You have value to yourself, and when you start when you start recognizing that value, and then it will allow others to see your value.
And it won't put you in situations that you don't need to be in.
That you don't want to be in.
Because I know a lot of situations, and we got one going on right now. All the peoples and victims and this and that and the other. Sometimes you got to know your self-worth to recognize that this ain't the place you need to be. Or this ain't the situation you need to be in.
Or the people.
Or that person ain't valued. So you need to recognize when they ain't valuing, when they're not valuing you. Because sometimes people allow you, or you in their life for the time that they need you.
Yeah.
You might be a placemat. A place card or a placeholder or whatever. But to know that your worth, get you out of a relationship that you ain't supposed to be in.
We even got in relationships. Worth in relationships.
Being at a job that you ain't supposed to be in, or being upset that you ain't at the job no more. Were you being valued there? Were they using your potential? Use your potential for your own business. That might be where you're supposed to be. That's why sometimes we have troubled heart getting up going to work for somebody else when we should be working for ourselves.
Doing for self. That's it right
So
there.
that's knowing your self-worth, and it's like the more and more, you moving in the path of where you're supposed to go, you're gonna start realizing it or recognizing it. And so that's one of the things that I've been going through. I've been working. I was like, my heart don't want to work for nobody no more.
Yeah, I want to touch on that because you brought up good. We haven't got that ever relationship and work. Because like in work, I feel you on that. Like not knowing your work, you working on a job, you have these skills, you're going way beyond, your job duty, doing the best you can do, but people not valuing your input and not even valuing monetary wise or accolade wise. That's not good. And then like you said, you working so hard for somebody else, and you in your back of your mind like, I could be doing this for myself. Like guys, I'm struggling with my own, business, and it's like, okay, what are you gonna do with your business? You can put everything into looking for a job, educating yourself, but what can you put into your small business to make it grow even more? Like, what is stopping you?
With the knowledge that we already
with the knowledge that I have, and it's like, what is that about? Like, I can do stuff for other people all day long, and it just come out great, but it's like, when it comes to myself, I be like so exhausted, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to do it.
Taking on too much.
Yeah, taking on too much that I don't have enough time for myself. And so I be feeling like, people need to start looking into like negotiating skills. Like when you recognize your worth, it's time to start negotiating your pay, negotiating your schedules, just your time and period. Like so people can like look at you differently, but like, I know what I'm doing. I would like to elevate in my job, position. I need a raise, just learning, how to speak up for yourself and asking questions, to your supervisors and, bosses, whatever y'all have y'all, workspace, structure. Just knowing your worth and not being afraid to put yourself out there. You got anything to say about work?
About work?
Well, you already said work. You already brought that up about work.
Yeah.
And then, you said relationship. Oh, girl, I'm scared of that one. But yeah, relationship, knowing your worth in relationship.
I think, knowing when to walk away, knowing when to stay. Because, I had to, and I'm just going to tell this story because it relieved me in a way, which is weird. But you know how they say people need closure in relationships and stuff like that. And I think that people really need closure and things like that. But mine wasn't even a closure of conversation. Mine was a closure of feelings. And I manifested for something to happen, and I've been manifesting just because I want to see, if it does it really work? Does manifesting really work?
Yeah, you can and manifest things in your life.
It manifested so quickly that it scared me. And yes, and not only did it scare me, it was like, okay, come on. You asked for it, here it go. And I was like almost scared to even go.
Like, what is this?
Yeah. And so, or there's more to life than that.
Mm-hmm.
That's because I know my self-worth. I never ever, when I was in a relationship, never felt like I wasn't enough. I was taught, I'm not taught, but I learned that from my divorce.
That you was enough.
That I was
too much.
That I was enough, and that I was and that person didn't deserve what I was putting out.
Woo!
So when if you putting out things that are positive, y'all don't argue on a regular, cause you don't like to argue no way.
Mm-hmm.
Are you helping them? Are you telling them about the are they telling you about the insecurities and you napping it in the bud?
Mm-hmm. Or
these are things that I think a relationship is made of. You're talking, you're communicating, you're stopping, any type of insecurities and letting them know where they stand at. You're defining the relationship, or are you saying you want to move forward in a positive way? You helping them, they helping you. You know what I'm saying? Those kind of things I think are good in a relationship, and those things happen. Yeah, if those things are happening and then that person don't know how to reciprocate or deal with it, mm-hmm. then they are not ready. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes people put things on themselves or blame themselves, and sometimes it really ain't about you. Mm-mm. It really ain't about you. It's about that person being either toxic or allowing toxic stuff to still, that they're attached to themselves, or they sitting in the trauma, or they're moving on in a different way.
Are they looking for somebody to accept it and just be like that?
And let them be how they want to be, yeah. And we're not going to do that.
And I think that was a problem I had, just used to people just letting me be how I want to be. My marriage really opened the door for me, as far as, it taught me a lot about relationships, because I was not a good person.
Well, you learn.
And I had to learn, I don't know if I was a bad person, but I was like, people just allowed me to be.
You spoiled.
Yeah, and my husband, he challenges me.
But
He's like, you're so pretty, you're so spoiled, you need to, and he challenges me about a lot of stuff. But I love him because he challenged me, and I grew up a lot. Because I used to run over people, I think. Like, I'm just gonna do what I want to do. Like, bye. Like, it's over. But
it's
you
can't do that in a relationship.
Yeah,
because you can do that when you ain't in a relationship.
Yeah,
but when you're in a relationship, you don't have to take people's feelings as far as your boundaries are concerned, or what you feeling that needs to happen. Now, when you in a relationship, now it matters. If you're working to get into a relationship, it could matter as well. Mm-hmm. But those are where you learning. You learning your boundaries. Right. You learning what you gonna put up with and what you're not gonna put up with. You learning that, okay, are we? Because that opposite attracts each other and stuff like that.
Hell no.
I'm just not into it. I'm just not into it. I really not. If you're strong where I'm weak.
Yeah.
Then
that's a balance.
That's a balance.
Yeah.
But if you saying blue and I'm saying violet, or we gonna do this, mm-hmm. Like, I don't feel like doing that.
Right.
Come on, baby, let's go do this. I don't feel like doing this.
And it's challenging too, because it's like, when they say opposites attract, it's just like, I like to try things. I like to have spontaneous moments. But if I'm with a person, they don't like to try new stuff. They don't like to have spontaneous moments. They so set into their ways. You don't want to compromise. I'm like, well, what are we doing? I mean, what we doing if you can't compromise, if you can't try new things? I try some things that I don't probably like, but I just want to try.
See, this is it. We're going into our next podcast.
Yes, we are.
We were talking about the next one was going to be relationships.
We're gonna hold off on relationships. But what you was talking about, it does have something to do with your self-worth in relationships, because you accept things when you don't value
that you normally
don't. So we're gonna accept.
But we'll talk about.
We're gonna talk about that in our next podcast when we get on relationships, because we have both been through some relations so far.
Okay, so I have this book because we was talking about self-worth, mm-hmm. and so I actually lost it and I found it.
Okay.
And so it's not really a big deal. I think I probably got it from the dollar store or whatever, And
she's a dollar store queen, y'all.
And so it says 365 Bible verses, and it's a journal. Mm-hmm. And so it has like a little bit of a, some words with the scripture and all that, and then I just journal. I read it first, like I just started back because I found it, but I just journal and stuff, and it kind of like you can put down your wins for that day.
That's
Yeah. And then you can put your challenges. I don't even put too many challenges. I put like maybe 1 or 2. But the wins for that day. And thanking God and the gratitude.
Yeah.
And this is something that I'm gonna start back working on because again I lost it, but I found it. I'm so happy I found it. And I put it right by my bed. But that's one of the things that you can do, as a person who's having a challenge with that. Because I know it's people out there that's challenging about their self-worth, or they came out of an abusive relationship, whether it's physical or mental or whatever. You got to build yourself
or
up.
childhood trauma.
Or childhood trauma. And it's not just women, it's men too. It's men out there that's been hurt or put they all in a relationship, and and
I want to say excuse me, I didn't interrupt you, but for the people who are not, some people don't like to write, but if you have, I don't know, if you're an iPhone user out there, you have a journal app on your iPhone. They came with the iPhone, it's a journal app on there. You could even speak. And it'll type it for you.
Maybe
I have used it a couple times. It's pretty cool. And it has, you can put pictures in there, all just memories,
that's
videos, all kind of stuff you can, insert inside of there. And if you guys, want to, like, girl, show me how to use it, let me know. I'll put it in the short or something. But it's just a very cool way, like she said, to do reflections, to work on some things that you're not sure of, or you want to, change some things about yourself, or just even improve on yourself, because learning your self-worth, knowing your self-worth is not only going to help you, but it's going to help others how they see you. Because when you walk with confidence, when you talk with confidence, people look at you differently.
And you ain't got to be out loud and acting crazy and doing stuff to bring attention to yourself and all that. It's just that people going to feel it when you walk in the room.
Of course, your energy.
You know your self-worth.
Yeah, and the energy is going to just, exude from you. Yeah, so guys, we're going to see you on the next podcast. We thank you for coming, and we thank you for your support, and we're going to see you next week.
And don't forget to subscribe and share.
Share the video.
Yes, and we'll be like putting out some few things out there for y'all to see, but we're so excited. Thank y'all for supporting us.
So thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges? You're not alone. That's why Trina and Mona, the hosts of the popular podcast My People, are proudly sponsored by BetterHelp, offering compassionate support when you need it most. With BetterHelp, you can talk to a therapist from the comfort of your own home or anywhere with an internet connection. It's convenient and affordable. Visit BetterHelp today and use the code MyPeople for 10% off your first month of therapy.